How's it going, guys? My name is Mike and welcome back to another video. Now today we're going to be talking about Mystery Dungeon items from Mystery Dungeon Rescue Team DX, comparing to the original Pokemon Red Rescue Team and Blue Rescue Team. Now there's quite a lot of differences, so you'll have to bear with me for the length of the video, but I suggest that you guys get comfy, get a cup of tea or coffee and sit down and lay back and enjoy the rest of the video. So let's get into it. So straight away, I'm recording my Switch screen. You guys are gonna have me talking about the old items because there's more new items than old items, obviously, and I'm gonna go through them all and I'm just gonna talk about them a little bit. So let's just start off with the accuracy drink. Now this wasn't originally in the actual original games, and supposedly it's a way of raising accuracy of one of your moves, and it's a permanent thing, so it's sort of like a Carbos or a protein or that sort of thing, but instead it's for accuracy, which is really interesting because accuracy isn't actually a stat, it's just an invisible stat, so it's kind of interesting that you can do this in Mystery Dungeon, which is kind of helpful, I suppose. And next up we've got the Acrobatics TM. Now this was not in the original games, and I'll tell you why, because obviously it came at a later point. It wasn't a move until I think it was like Gen 5, possibly with Archeops. I think it was that sort of time that it came about. So obviously it wasn't in the original games. So anyway, so that's, you know what acrobatics is. It's a flying move. It's a physical move. So yeah. You got Aerial Ace. Now I believe this was in the original games. In fact, it's the first item in the original games that go in A to Z. So we'll just miss this one. You know obviously what it is. Then you have these weird orbs that you don't have in the original games. You have some orbs, obviously. You have things like a beat up orb, a blowback orb. So you know you'd throw it and it'd blow back the enemy. Well, the dodge one is sharply boosting evasiveness, so it continues whilst you're on the floor. You use the orb on, so basically you set it up on a boss battle and it helps you dodge moves, which is very useful. Then you've got the power one, which actually boosts the attack and special attack of all your teammates, and it says here again, effective in boss battles, which is really useful. You've got the protect one, which basically gives you the move protect at some point and protects you from enemies' attacks, which is useful as well. Very interesting. Now, there was on the original games an alert specs and an alert seed. Now, these have not made it through to the other games, so I'm assuming there's reasons for this. I don't know those reasons, but they're not there anymore. Obviously, we've got the apple. That's granted. It's a Mystery Dungeon game. You have to have the apple. You can't not have the apple. Then we've got Attract, still, again, in the original games, and it's moved across to here. Aura Veil was not in the original games. I believe it was again a later gen move compared to the generation that this was part of, Gen 3. So obviously it's a nice type move, physical, so that's about all I could say about that. Then you've got this thing called a Bansieve, which is basically causes the last move that the Pokemon used to be disabled. So it's basically like a disable move. Very interesting, and it was not in the original games as far as I can see. So it'd be interesting to see how this is utilised by players of Mystery Dungeon to sort of gain that advantage over bosses and that sort of thing from using certain moves. Moving on, we have the Bank Orb. Now this was not in the original games either. And this gives you access to Felicity Bank in a dungeon, which is kind of OP, not gonna lie to you, because you never know when you need your money for whatever reason, or you need to store money. It stops you from basically dying and losing loads of money, which is really helpful, I'll be honest with you. They've really thought about this. Then we've obviously got Big Apple, which again was a crossover. Then we've got the Big Eater Belt, which was not in the original games. Now, apparently when the item is equipped, the wearer's belly fills twice as much when they eat something. Very interesting. So it's a held item, and essentially what it does is it fills your belly twice from one apple instead of just filling it for the standard apple filling, basically, which is very helpful. Now I assume it's going to be a difficult item to get, but once you get it, that could be really powerful. Moving on, we've got the Blast Seed as per usual. It's just causing a huge damage with the blast. We already know that. Blinker Seed, that was in the original games as well, and it basically causes a blink condition. Then we've got Blizzard, which was again in the original games, so nothing's changed there. Then we've lost a few items in between, so you've lost the Blowback Orb, we've lost the Blue Gummy, so we've lost gummies entirely, I believe, and then we've also lost the Bounce Band, which is very interesting. I think the gummy thing is obviously being replaced by something else, so obviously I don't think we need that. I think that's what those accuracy drinks are, that replaces the need for gummies and that sort of thing, and we don't have an IQ in this game. It's something else, it's like stats, or I don't know what it's called, but it's different, so we've obviously got that, which is a very big change, which is kind of nice. Then you got Brick Break, which was in the original games as well. Then we got the Bronze Dojo ticket. Now, we didn't have dojo tickets before. I couldn't remember how you got to the dojo, but now you can go to the dojo and use these tickets, and it'll boost like XP and move XP, which is fantastic. Really, really useful. So that's a new thing that's been added. So now we've got Brutal Swing. We did not have this before, and I believe that again is another move that was added sort of, I think, Gen 5 or 6 or something like that. It's a dark type move, physical. So it's kind of cool that they've added new moves. So it's not all just a remake like for like. They've definitely explored more moves, more items, ways to do things. So it's great. I think it's nice. Moving down, we've got Bulk Up, which was in the original games as well. I won't go through that. Bulldoze, another one, was Gen 5, I think. Part of Clay's gym, you had Bulldoze, and it was sort of like a cheaper Earthquake, if that makes sense. So yeah, that's been added as well. That's a ground type move. Moving down, we've got the Cacnea Spike. That's always been the same. That's still there. We have the Calcium as well. So before we didn't have the Accuracy Drink, but we still have the Calciums, and we've always had the Calciums, which is kind of interesting. So it's the permanent effect, obviously, and it just helps your special attack there. Calm Mind we had before as well, so I won't go through that. Same with the Carbos. I believe we had the Carbos before. Apparently we didn't. So now we have the Carbos. I can't believe they had things like a Carbos missing when it's literally like Calcium but for speed. That's kind of crazy to me. I don't get that. But anyway, regardless, it's in the game now, which is fantastic. We have Charge Beam as well. Now, as far as I can see, this was not in the original games, and I believe this again was added in Gen 5. It's a new Pokemon move that's to do with electric typing, basically. We have the Cherry Berry, which has been around since forever. Chestnut has been around forever. Chesto Berry, again, has been around forever. Cleanse Orb, again, been around forever. So we'll miss these ones. I'm just trying to compare the new and old items. Confide, we did not have Confide. So I noticed a lot of these TMs are new TMs. I can't remember what typing Confide is, but it's a status move regardless. Very useful, very interesting. Then we got the Confuse one, which wasn't in the original games either, which apparently waving it at Pokemon makes it confuse. Very, very useful. Very good for strategizing in boss battles and that sort of thing. Then we've got the Corsola Twig, which has been around since the original games. We've got the Cover Band, which wasn't around, but we did have a Curve Band. So the Cover Band is when basically the teammate has low HP, where it takes the attack instead. Very, very useful. Very, very interesting how they've got these new bands that are good for strategy. They've got orbs and bands, but they've explored new ideas, and it's kind of given you a new way to strategize and win the game, basically. Then we've got Dark Pulse, again, a new move. I think most of these TMs are new moves, which is fantastic. It's really cool that they've added all these. It's great, because obviously I think most Pokemon, should I say, can learn most of the moves that were around in the original games just by level up. So I'm assuming they've added TMs just to make it easier for them to learn moves that they couldn't learn before, which is very useful. Then we have the Dazzling Gleam, again, that's a Gen 6 move because of Fairy typing. Then we have the Decoy Orb, which was in the original games. A Decoy Seed, which wasn't in the original games, but when you throw it at the enemy, it can make them infatuated for a while. So what's the difference between the orb? Basically, they're making their moves fail. So Decoy Orb is to decoy, whereas Decoy Seed is to infatuate them for a while. Very interesting. Weird, but interesting. Defensive Scarf was in the original games, so I'll leave that one be. Deluxe Box was not in the original games, from what I can see. And apparently it's made to open when you leave a dungeon. So I assume you get these boxes in dungeons and you can open them up and get items inside them, which is kind of cool. I'm not going to lie to you. You have the Deluxe Ribbon. We had a Diet Ribbon before. We haven't had a Deluxe Ribbon though, which is very interesting. And it's basically just a ribbon that you can sell for a high price at a shop. So if you get it, you could sell it. And that's kind of useful. Detect Band. We had one of those before, so we'll leave that be. Doom Seed. Now, I don't know if we had this before. Let me have a look. We did in fact have the Doom Seed before, so I'm going to leave that right there. Double Team. I believe, in fact, we didn't have Double Team, so that's useful. It's an old move, so I'll just leave that. You guys know what that is, I'm sure, if you're Pokemon fans. Dragon Claw, all the same. Had that before. Dragon Tail, now that's a new addition. Very, very cool. I'm very impressed that they've added that. That's a very powerful move. So imagine having a Dragon type on your team. Very, very cool. And then moving down, we have Dream Eater, which is another new one. Very, very awesome. Then we have the Draft Orb, which has been the Drought Orb, should I say. My bad pronunciation there. So we've got the Drought Orb, and that's basically the same as the original games, so we're just going to leave that there. Then you have a DX Gummy, so they have got gummies in this, very interesting. Basically, you gain a rare quality and it'll raise one of your stats. It's basically a way of raising stats just like before. So this is what I was saying before, is gummies used to change your IQ, it used to raise IQ, which would help your EVs, IVs, or something like that. I can't remember the way it worked, but it would raise your IQ, and it would help do different things, whereas now it's just raising your stats, which is very interesting. So that's kind of cool. Then we have Earthquake, which was in the original game, so I'm going to leave that be. Echoed Voice, another fairy type move that's been added, which is very cool. Efficient Bandana. Now, from what I could see, this was not in the original games, so moves sometimes won't cost PP to use. That's very powerful. These things obviously are going to be difficult to get, I can guarantee that, but if you got one, very, very useful. Embargo was not in the original games either, so that's kind of cool, very helpful. They've added a few more status moves, I've noticed. Empowerment Seed, so eating it causes the Pokemon to be awakened, making them very strong. That's weird, that's cool, that's like Super Saiyan mode, like, for real. It's kind of useful, not gonna lie to you. Energy Ball, that's a new one as well, very helpful. Moving down, we've got the Energy Seed. Didn't have that before either, and it restores HP apparently, which is kind of cool. That's kind of helpful. Then you got the Escape Orb, we had that before. Evasion Orb, we had that before as well. Evolution Crystal. Now this is interesting, we did not have this before. It can help with them. Some Pokemon can't evolve without it. Is this going to be for like Pokemon that couldn't evolve before in the original games? So like, for example, you had like a Gen 2 or 3 Pokemon or whatever in Gen 4 when it got a new evolution. Does that help with that? So like, for example, you got Gligar Gen 2. Does that mean that Gligar can evolve into Gliscor through this evolution crystal? Is that what that means? Who knows? That'll be interesting to see what you guys think about that. Moving down, we have Explosion. I'm not sure how you'd use this because you're going to pretty much kill yourself, so who knows, but we'll see. And you got the Explosive Band, which is kind of cool. That's a new one as well. And it explodes when the wearer takes damage, which is kind of cool because it makes people get damage, like other Pokemon get damage whilst you're taking damage. Kind of useful. Eyedrop Seed. That was in the original game, so I'll just leave that there. So, Facade we had in the original games as well, so I'm just going to shift by that real quickly. Now, Force Swipe's a new one we haven't had before, so that's kind of helpful. You obviously know what that does, so lowers you to 1 HP if you've hit strong enough, obviously. So, we'll move down to the next one. Fickle Specs, this is a new one. It boosts critical hit rate when using a different move than the turn before. That's kind of a weird one. That's kind of cool. God, why isn't this an actual competitive item? That's weird. Kind of interesting. Yeah. That's kind of a cool addition, I like that. Then we got the Fierce Bandana. Now this wasn't in before as well. So it just basically increases the power of moves. So these bandanas are very, very helpful things. Have they spelled bandana wrong there? Forgive me for wondering. No, they've all spelled bandana like that. That is not how you spell bandana in my country. Interesting. Anyway, moving down. We've got Fire Blast, had that before. Flame Charge is a new one because I think that came around again like for later gens, so that's kind of cool. And then we have Flamethrower, which is again from the original games, but they got rid of the Fill-In Orb, they've got rid of the Firestone, so I'm assuming like the Firestone doesn't need to be used because I assume they just use Evolutionary Stones now instead, like that Evolutionary Stone we saw further up. So that's kind of cool, that's kind of weird. Flash Cannon's a new one again, and then we've also got Fling that we didn't have before either. And Fly, which we did have before. We've got rid of Flash though, which I kind of find weird, but you know. Focus Blast as well. Wasn't one that we had in there before, so that's kind of nice. Then moving down, we've got the Faux Hold Orb. This is a new one. And apparently it makes all the enemies on the floor petrified. So you just basically make them petrified, and then you just walk away. Like you literally straight up leave. You're like, bye. And you're off to the next floor. That's kind of cool. Faux Seal Orb. Makes them all lethargic and unable to do anything, so they all fall asleep essentially. That's kind of cool. Okay, so there's some new ones. And we have the Friend Bow. Pokemon you battle are more likely to join you. Shiny Pokemon will want to join you too. So can shiny Pokemon not join you normally? Is that how it works? I'm not sure how that works. Interesting. We'll have to work out how that works eventually in the new games. Like obviously in the full game. So that was in before, but I don't think that shiny Pokemon thing was a thing before. So who knows? That's interesting. Frost Breath, a new one again, a new TM. Frustration hasn't changed one bit. We've got Geo Pebbles, which are still there. So that's great. Then we've got a Giga Impact, which is a new one, which is kind of nice. Then we've got the goggle specs. Now they're in the original games as well, so I'll skip straight past those. We've got a gold dojo ticket, like I said before. These dojo tickets very helpful. This one will super boost your XP and move XP, so I assume like the platinum or whatever it's called, like maxes out your XP and move XP or something like that, you know? We've got the gold ribbon, which was in the original games before, but they got rid of the gold gummies, so I think the gummies have just gone forever and you just got the DX gummy there, which is kind of interesting. Golden fossil, we didn't have before, and apparently when it's thrown, it flies in an arc to deal a fixed amount of damage on enemy it hits, even those in walls. There's Pokemon in walls? Was that a thing in the original game? Who knows? Weird. Okay. That shows how much I know about Mystery Dungeon. We've got Golden Spike, which is a new one as well, and it flies in a straight line to damage any enemy it hits. Can't speak. Okay, sorry. Moving down, and I've just screwed myself over there. We've got Grass Knot, which was not in the original games. Kind of cool. I like that Pokemon move. It's kind of useful, and it's very helpful on heavy rock types. Very, very cool. We've got Graveler Rock, obviously. Same thing, same business. Grimy Food, had that before as well. The Guiding Wand, that is a new one, I believe. That's kind of weird. It helps you get to the stairs. Very, very awesome. Is that like a one-time usage? I don't know. We'll have to see. But that's a really helpful move. I mean item. Very helpful item. Then we got Gyro Ball. That's a new one as well. Very cool. I like how they've added a lot of TMs, like I said before. I think it's really helpful. Then we've got the Hail Orb. That's obviously been around since the old games. Then you got Hail the TM as well. Very, very interesting how they've added that. Then you got Heal Ribbon, which we had before, so I'll move past that. And the Heal Seed, which we had before, so I'll move past that as well. Then you have the Health Orb. Using it heals your team's bad statuses and resets their lowered stats. Your team will also become healthy. So they become healthy, which is, I assume, like something to do with their belly or maybe like their health, like their HP. Gets rid of their bad statuses, so like poison, burns, that sort of thing. And then also resets the lower stats, so it basically sets their stats back to normal. It's like a Wonder Tile, but like cooler. Okay, that's awesome. Then we have the Heavy Rotation specs. They're new. Boost the critical hit rate when you... It's like the other ones, but instead of using different moves, you use the same one, and it boosts the critical hit rate. That can be kind of OP, not gonna lie. Then we have the Helper Orb, which we didn't have before, from what I can see. So, use it and another rescue team will help you. Hey? Another rescue team? Does that mean like online? Or is that like just some like random like in-game team, like a made up like CPU team? That's kind of cool. Kind of crazy though, not gonna lie. I'm not gonna see how that works, that'll be interesting. We've got Hidden Power, and we had that before, so I'll move past that. HP Swap Wand, that's new. So these wands are really new things. So it swaps the HP of you and that Pokemon. So if you've got like low HP and the Pokemon in front of you is literally high HP, you just straight up go whoom, done, and you've got like high HP again. That's kind of OP, not gonna lie. There's a few of these that are OP. Hyper Beam we had before, Ice Beam we had before. Infestation is a new one. That's from Gen 6, I believe. So that you can understand why that's been added, obviously. Moving down, we've got the Insomniscope. That's been around before. Then you've got Invitation. If you put it in the mail slot of mystery rooms you see in dungeons, that mystery rooms? That's a new thing. Okay. This is kind of cool, looking into like what things have been added and like that sort of thing. So it's an invitation from an unknown sender. Okay, so that's kind of awesome. So that must be like unlocking special events and that sort of stuff. Inviting Orb. So they haven't got an Invisify Orb, but we've got an Invite or an Identifying Orb. We've just got the Inviting Orb now. Makes it easier to befriend Pokemon in your battles. Very interesting. So if you want to go to a certain floor and get a Pokemon and you really want one to join your team, you can use it on that floor and get that Pokemon. Iron, so obviously we had that before. Iron Spike, didn't have one of those before. I assume they've replaced them with like thorns or something like that. Then moving down, we have the Joy Ribbon. So we've missed a few items down here. Itemizer Orb, yeah, Iron Tail TM, yeah, Iron Thorn. So, you know, they've removed things that obviously have no relevance anymore for the gameplay of the game. Very, very cool. Joy Orb, Joy Ribbon, sorry, has been in the original games. Same with the Joy Seed. Then you got the Lasso Orb, which is a new one. Very, very interesting. It gathers enemies in the same room into one place and makes them get stuck. That's kind of cool. So every Pokemon that's in the same room in that dungeon just straight up just goes straight together, all stuck on the same spot. Leech Life, that's a new one from what I can see. We've got the Life Seed, which is the same as before. They removed the King's Rock and the Leaf Stone, so I assume, like, a big assumption here, that Evolution Stone has a lot of say on what happens with evolutions, basically. Light Screen has always been around, so I'll keep that moving. Link Box, obviously, all the same. Lock-on specs, they've been around as well. They've got rid of the link cable, obviously, for whatever reason. Obviously, they don't need it anymore. We've got the Low Sweep TM, that's a new one as well, another fighting type move. Then you've got the Lucky Ribbon, that's a new one as well. And apparently it helps prevent the wearer from taking critical hits. That's really cool. Not gonna lie, that's like a scope lens, right? That sort of thing. Then you got the Luminous Orb, all the same. That's a really OP one. The Mark Ribbon, that's a new one. That's very cool. And it boosts the wearer's speed, that's really interesting. Max Elixir, you got that already. Max Ether, we got that already as well. Mobile Orb, we had that before. They've got rid of Metal Coat as well. That's what I'm saying, this Evolutionary Stone obviously does something very interesting. So, very, very cool. We have the Mobile Scarf, again all the same. The Monster Orb, this is a new one. So it changes the room to a monster house. So I don't know what that is. Has no effect on the floor that already has a monster house or shop. Wow. So a monster house I assume is like a place where it's just got like really hard enemies just so you can grind and level up and stuff. Munch Belt. This has been in the original game, so I'm going to go past that one. Nature Power, that's a new one as well. So that's kind of awesome. Moving down, we've got the No Stick Cap. That's all the same, it's never changed. We've got the Nullify Bandana. This is a new one. Prevents the wearer's ability from working. Wow. Why would you want that? Like, why would you want your ability to not work? That's kind of weird. But anyway, nonetheless, let's move past that. We've got the same with the Orb. It nullifies the abilities of all enemies on the entire floor. Okay, so it's getting rid of abilities, essentially. Very, very useful. Kind of cool. Did they have abilities in the original one? I don't think they did. From what I can remember, I don't remember having an ability. So that's going to add another level of gameplay to this. It's crazy. One Room Orb, all the same. One Shot Orb, all the same. Oranberry, all the same. Overheat, all the same. Pass Scarf, again, all the same. Payback, they've added that, which is kind of cool. Very, very powerful move. Petra Berry, all the same. Petra Scarf, all the same. Perfect Apple, that's a new one, so I assume that just fills your belly completely. Yeah, just as it says there. Fills your belly completely, so that's super cool. Very, very interesting. Then we've got the Piercing Band, not changed at all. Petrify Orb, all the same. Petrify Wand is a new one, so you wave it at Pokemon instead of using it. Then you've got the Phase Ribbon, which is a new one as well. Wow. God. So it can ignore walls. Wow. So you can literally walk through walls with this. Crazy. Yeah, there's obviously some like side effects, like your belly gets removed, like empty quite quickly. Then we've got the Pierce Band, which is all the same. And they've removed the Pierce Orb, which is kind of interesting. You got the Plain Seed, and they've removed the Plain Ribbon. Very, very interesting there. Poison Jab they've added, very powerful move. Obviously you got Pokey, which is the currency. Pounce Wand, so they had a Pounce Orb before, which I assume they've removed for this. So that's kind of awesome. So it helps waving Pokemon or a wall makes you jump at it. It also draws your teammates to you, so you can jump out of the way of enemies, which is kind of cool. Power Band has always been in and always will be. Power Drink is a new one. Raise the power of your move. That is really cool. Your whole team can share moves. This is a huge effect. Wow. Okay. PP Up, again, is a new thing. Very, very cool. Pretty Box. So this wasn't in before either. So it's a blue box that you open once you leave a dungeon. So these boxes, I assume, are in dungeons, like special dungeons, and you get like cool items from them, like rare items and stuff. Moving down. Not moving that way. Moving this way. You got a Prosper Ribbon, which was not in before. And it heals bad statuses like being poisoned and paralyzed. And also, it slightly restores HP. So you have to pick up money to heal your status. Kind of cool. Protect obviously has been in. Protein's been in. Psych Up is a new one. Obviously you know what that does. Psychic hasn't changed one bit. Psy Shock is a new one. So a lot of new moves for new Pokemon, which is cool. I wonder if they're going to add any new Pokemon to this, or whether it's just going to be the same game as it's always been. Pure Seed, that's a new one. Warps you close to the floor stairs. Wow. That's kind of powerful, not gonna lie. Then you got Quash. Quash? I don't know what that is, but, you know, it's a move nonetheless. Then we got the Quick Orb and the Quick Seed, which hasn't changed. Then you've got the Radar Orb, which hasn't changed. And then you've got Rain Dance, and they've removed the Racket Band here, and the Rainy Orb, from what I can see, which is kind of interesting. And then you've obviously got the removal of the other gummies, but you've got this Rainbow Gummy, which raises one of your stats, and it's permanent, and you earn a rare quality. So it's like the DX Gummy. That's kind of cool. Very helpful. Oh, they've got the Rainy Orb just here, so they haven't removed that one. Then you've got the Rare Quality Orb. Now, this is a new one. Makes it easier to befriend Pokemon that have a rare quality. So, rare quality, I don't know what this is, but like, it must be some sort of thing about them that's special, like a move or something like that, I'm not sure. We've got Roseberry, not changed one bit. Recovery Scarf, that's a new one. Recovers quickly from bad statuses like being confused or paralyzed. Very cool. That's interesting. You got Reflect, hasn't changed. Reset Orb is a new one. You'll end the awakened condition for all enemies and allies on the floor. Not sure why you'd want to do that. But who knows? Oh no, does that mean that you send them back to sleep? I don't know. You got the Rest TM and Return TM, all the same. Reunion Cape is a new one. Warps you near your teammates if they get separated. If a teammate equips it, that teammate will warp to the spot near the leader. Very, very, very helpful. If they're stuck in a battle and you're like moving on, and you can just warp them to you. Very, very cool. Revive All Orb. That is a new one. You got a Revive Orb, but this is a Revive All Orb. Revives all your fainted teammates. Once you get to the floor, you won't be able to revive any teammates except the main one. Okay. Very cool. You got the Reviver Seed, which hasn't changed. So I assume the Revive All Orb is better than the Revive Orb. I assume they've changed it like that on purpose. Obviously you've got the Reviver Seed, which hasn't changed. We've got the Raw TM, which hasn't changed. Rock Polish is a new one. You know what that does, obviously. Rock Slide is another new one. Rock Tomb is another new one. Very cool. And you got the Roll Call Orb. It's been the same since the original games. You got Roost, which has been added. Very, very helpful. In fact, that's kind of OP. If you have a flying type on your team and they use Roost, then they can heal you, which is kind of cool. You got Round, which is a new one again. Safeguard, which has always been around. Sandstorm's a new one. Obviously, we know what Sandstorm does, but it's a new one, so that must mean there's, like, obviously weather within dungeons, which is kind of cool. Kind of OP. Then you got the Sandy Orb, all the same. The Scald TM, that's a new one as well. Then we got the Scanner Orb, that's been around since a while. Scope Lens. Okay, so this one boosts the critical hit rate, so the other one prevents you from being critically hit. This one boosts the critical hit rate. Very cool. You got the Sea Trap Orb, which is all the same. They've removed Secret Power, which is kind of interesting, but I suppose it's not that great of a move. You got Shadow Ball, obviously in the original game, but they've also added Shadow Claw. You got a Silver Dojo ticket, which I assume is like the second tier, so you got Bronze, Silver, then Gold, so that's kind of cool. Very greatly boosts your move XP and XP. Very helpful. You got the Silver Spike, which is a new one. Very, very... Oh no, it's not. It's been the same. Never mind. Never mind, ignore me there. You got the Citrus Berry, which hasn't changed. They've got rid of Shockwave, which is interesting. Shocker Orb and Silence Orb. Then you've got Skydrop, which is a new move as well. We've got the Sleep Seed, which was in the original game as well. We've got Sleep Talk, which is a new one as well, which is kind of cool. Slow Orb, nothing's changed there. Then we've got the Slow Wand, which is what the Slow Orb does basically, I think. But it does it as a certain enemy. Then we've got Sludge Bomb, which is in the original game as well. But they've also added Sludge Wave, kind of OP. That's a very, very good move. Then we've got the Slumber Orb, which hasn't changed. The Slumber Wand probably does what the Slumber Orb does, but just a 1-1, which is kind of helpful. Then you've got Smackdown, which is a new one as well. And then we've got Smart Strike, another new one. Snarl, which is even another new one. A lot of new moves here. A lot of new moves. Then you've got the Sneak Scarf, which hasn't changed. Solar Beam, which hasn't changed. Special Band, again another thing that hasn't changed. You got the Spurn Orb, which is a new one. And that warps all enemies in the same... And this one warps all enemies in the same room to somewhere else on the floor. Very, very cool. So, if you're in a room with the same enemies, you can just literally, like, get rid of them. Very, very helpful. Moving down. Stamina Band hasn't changed one bit. Then we've got the Stay Away wand, which is replacing the Stay Away orb, I assume. Warps the Pokemon somewhere else on the floor and makes it petrified. Okay. Very helpful. We've got Steel Wing, hasn't changed one bit. Then we've got Stone Edge, which is a new addition to the game, which is kind of cool. They got rid of the stick, which I find kind of weird. Who knows? Not sure why they got rid of that, but, you know, regardless. We've got a Storage Orb, which is a new one as well. Lets you select items from your toolbox and send them to Kangaskhan storage. So that's like the one for this Felicity Bank, but you can actually use stuff within the dungeon now, which is really helpful if you need it. You got the Stun Speed. I can't say seed today. You got a Stun Seed, and that's the same as usual. Then we got Substitute, which is a new move that has been added. Then we have Sunny Day, which has been added as well. Very interesting stuff. And then we've got the Sunny Orb, which is the same. They've removed the Sunstone, obviously. We've got Surf, which is all the same. Hasn't changed one bit. Then you've got the Surround Wand, which is a new one. Waving it at Pokemon warps your teammates to surround that Pokemon, which is kind of cool. Not gonna lie, can you imagine just like ganging up on a Pokemon, just like, hey, we're gonna take you down, bro. Like, whether you like it or not. Then you've got the Swagger TM, which wasn't in the original games, so they've added that as well. Then you've got the Switcher Wand, which is different to, it's the same thing as the Switcher Orb, I assume. They've just removed the orb and added the wand. Waving it at Pokemon makes you switch places with the Pokemon. If you switch places with an enemy, your nearby teammates will be drawn to you, but stray teammates won't be. Very, very cool strategies there. Then we got Swords Dance, which is new. Like, that wasn't in before, and that's going to be really OP, not going to lie. You got Taunt, which is usual. Thief, the same. Thunder is all the same. Thunder Wave is a new one. You got a Thunderbolt, which hasn't changed. They removed the Thunderstone. The Type Belt's all the same. And you got a Tiny Apple. Fills the belly a tiny bit. Now that wasn't in before, and now it is, so that's kind of cool. And you got a Tiny Reviver Seed, that's new. It revives a fainted Pokemon. Turns into a plain seed once it revives a Pokemon. Very cool, very helpful. Then you got Torment, which hasn't changed. A Totter Orb, which hasn't changed. They removed the Toss Orb though. And you got a Totter Seed, which is a new one. Oh no, it's not. Ignore me. Ignore me. It's so hard to reference this, but yeah, it's not a new one. Ignore me. You got Toxic all the same. Then you've got this thing called a Training Seed. Gives you the train condition, which boosts the growth of moves. Interesting stuff. I'm not sure how that works, but I'm sure we'll work it out eventually there. Then we've got the Trap Scarf, which is all the same. We've got the Trap Burst Orb, which is all the same. A Troll Orb, all the same. They removed the Trapper Orb though, interestingly enough. We've got Trick Room, which is a new one. Then you've got the Tunnel Wand, which is a new one again. All these ones are new. Waving it at a wall makes the wall crumble. If you wave it at a Pokemon, it damages that Pokemon. Okay, very interesting. Then you got the Twist Band, which is all the same. Two-Edged Wand, which replaces the Two-Edged Orb, I assume. Waving it at a Pokemon always reduces that Pokemon's HP to 1, and it reduces your HP to half its maximum. If your HP is already at half or lower, it won't be lowered anymore though. Very helpful. So if you're gonna lose, and you know you're gonna lose, and you're under half HP, you can't lose any more HP, and it'll take it down to 1 HP, and then your teammates can wipe it out. Very, very helpful. You've got U-Turn, which is a new one. Venoshock, which is another new one that they've added. And you've got the Violent Seed, which is also a new one. Boosts your special attack and attack a lot, and lasts as long as you're on the floor. Interesting. They got Volt Switch, which is a new one again. Then you got the Warp Scarf, which hasn't changed. The Warp Seed, which is the same. And then you got the Warp Wand as well. Waving it at Pokemon warps that Pokemon and Pokemon near it to somewhere on the floor. Warps both enemies and allies though, so be careful where you aim it. And then we got Waterfall. That's all the same, obviously. We've got the Weather Band, which hasn't changed. Then you've got the Weather Lock Orb, which is new. Creates a weather lock, locking the usual clear weather in place. Try using it when the weather turns nasty. So basically this changes the weather around you, like a hail or a sandstorm, into clear weather. Kind of helpful. Then you've got the Whirlwind Wand, which is a new one. And it knocks the Pokemon flying. So that's sort of like the Blowback one, but it's a wand instead of an orb. And it's not called Blowback anymore, it's called Whirlwind. You got the Wigglytuff Orb. Gives you access to Wigglytuff's camp corner in a dungeon. Not sure what that is, but that's something to do with Wigglytuff from Explorers of Sky, obviously, and Explorers of Time and Darkness. Bringing that into this game. Very, very cool. Kind of awesome that they crossed the two games over there. Then we've got Wild Charge as a new one. Will-O-Wisp, which is a new one again. Workup, which is also a new one. Then you got the X-Ray specs, which hasn't changed. You got X-Scissor, that's kind of OP, not gonna lie. Bug type move, physical, and that's gonna be very helpful for those bug types and other Pokemon. Then you got a Zinc, which hasn't changed, and then we got the Zinc Band. So that's all the items. I've gone through them all. Obviously, there's some new ones there. There's those ones, and then some new bandanas, and obviously the removal of some orbs. So it's interesting to see how they changed it and why they've changed it. And it'll be interesting to see what things do, such as the evolutionary stone, and how that affects the gameplay. So if you guys enjoyed this video, sorry if it was a bit of a long one, be sure to smash that like button down below. Be sure to subscribe for more Mystery Dungeon videos and Pokemon videos alike. And I will see you very soon. I hope you have a lovely day, and make sure you finish your cup of tea on the table there. And I'll see you later. Cheers.